Welcome on in, guys. Three bold takes again, and we are maybe finishing our What Makes a Season Successful series. Finally, we've done numerous of these so far, but today we decided to finish with the defending national champions and the Michigan Wolverines. Obviously, I just said they won the national championship last year, so I feel like expectations may be a little too high heading into 2024 than what they should be. With that in mind, though, Chase, I want to pass it over to you first. What are your expectations and what would make them successful?
Good. I'm glad you passed to me first, because I'm going to put on my hater shades. Michigan has a lot of roster turnover. Let's not forget that. I think they sent 18 guys to the combine, which is huge. Your leading rusher, who is, I believe, like the touchdown leader for the past 2 seasons in college football, at least last season. Your game manager, your general, and J.J. McCarthy, top pick. And then also your head coach goes out to the Chargers. So you promote your offensive coordinator. You're trying to fill some gaps, some holes here. You also just had a guy, I think your top defensive safety or your top defensive player overall, just tore his ACL or Achilles in camp already. So he's out for the season. You've got a lot going on if you're Michigan. And you also don't have a favorable schedule. You got Texas, you got Oregon, you got Ohio State. Bam, there's all three losses for me personally. I'm not giving them a chance in almost any of those games. I think Texas comes out with a vengeance. They just reloaded, and they still look amazing. They had a lot of guys return as well. I think Oregon gets the best of them in year one of being in the Big Ten. I think Ohio State finally reasserts the dominance that should be there. And then you also have some toss-ups. You have USC. How good will they be? Washington. You have a sneak game with Michigan State, who just hired Jonathan Smith from Oregon State. You know, you got some games that are tough, right? So for me, a successful season for Michigan here, the last four coaches for Michigan that started in their first year, three of them have had 9+ wins in their first season. Only one had 3, and that was Rich Rodriguez. Shout out Arizona, shout out Jacksonville State. I want to say a successful season would be Sharon Moore matching that and staying afloat in the Big Ten and not absolutely just crumbling. But I think for me, I'm going to go 7 wins and making a bowl game, because after a national championship like that, after losing that many players, losing your head coach, and not a great schedule, it's going to be a tough first year for Sharon Moore in the new look Big Ten. I'm going to go 7 games and a bowl game win, so make that up to 8. So 7-game regular season win total for me, and then add one more. I think that's what could happen, but it feels almost insurmountable. Maybe if Jim Harbaugh stays, it's different. Maybe if you don't lose as many players to the draft or transfer portal or whatnot, maybe it's different, but it just feels like so much to overcome in your first year as a head coach and implementing your system in a really, really tough Big Ten.
Yeah, for me, you've done a lot of it. You got a lot of roster turnover. You got a new head coach, and you draw like 3 incredibly difficult games. Oregon, Texas, and Ohio State are all top 5 on the short list for national champion odds for 2024. I just call me a cynic. I don't think you win those games. I think those are very, very difficult games for you. I will grant you that at least Ohio State is so late in the year that maybe your team turns themselves around into something that could upset Ohio State when you add in the fact that you've owned them for 3 years straight now, that maybe that is something that could happen, but I'm not going to lean in that direction, right? Especially not with the game being in Columbus. So I'm going to automatically knock those as 3 L's. I would say a successful year is to go 8-4. Is outside of those 3 that look like they're impossible. Okay, go 8-1. Prove that you're still a quality team, that you're just a young team, and that you're going to be reloaded and ready to go for the 2025 season. I think that's a successful year for Michigan. Is an 8-4 record, losing only 1 game outside of those big 3 that I just don't think you're equipped to handle, frankly, in 2024.
Yes. I'm kind of leaning the same there. I think obviously you guys have mentioned the Texas, Oregon, and Ohio State. I mean, heck, they're ranked 2, 3, and 4 in the preseason polls, and you've got all three of them. I mean, it's just it's unbelievable, the schedule that they drew. But, and before I took a look, like I actually looked at their schedule, right, and forgot that they played Texas. My original thought was, all right, I need you to be undefeated against the formerly Pac-12, now new Big Ten teams, because you are Michigan. You just won a national championship. You are the premier brand in the Big Ten, one of. You got to beat these new teams. But then I saw who these new teams are that they play. And it's USC, Washington. We've already mentioned Oregon. And I believe that is it. So you've got those three that you play. Now, you do get Oregon at home, which that's huge if you're a Michigan fan. You do get Texas at home. To me, I think you win one of those three games. The Texas, the Oregon, or the Ohio State. You win one of them. I don't care which one. It does not matter to me. But I think you win one of them, and I will give you an extra loss somewhere. So, you're looking at a 9-3, right? But you beat one of the three best teams in the country. I think, to me, that does two things. Number one, that proves that you're still a premier program, not team, but program in the Big Ten. And it proves that Sherrone Moore can actually coach full term, full length, preseason, the whole nine. Proves that he can do that. And then it also proves to the upcoming classes that you are here to stay. Like, it wasn't a one-hit wonder. It wasn't a fluke, the success that Michigan had last year. So I think you have to win one of the big three games. And I would even take a 9-3 season, including a win over one of those teams. It's certainly not in the cards to make the Big Ten championship. It's certainly not in the cards to make the playoffs this year. However, you may have a card up your sleeve, and you still might do it. I mean, let's be real. It is still Michigan, right? Like, this is not like, and I hate to use them as an example because whatever. It's not a Washington where you still made the playoffs. You had your coach leave, and you're expected and will probably be very bad, right? You are still Michigan. You are still one of the 3-4 biggest names in all of college football history. So to sit here and say that they can't make it to the Big Ten championship and won't, I don't agree with. I don't think they will, but they certainly can based upon who they are, in my opinion. Anything else, guys?
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you were talking about you need to beat one of the three. I'm assuming you're leaning Oregon as the most likely of those upsets. Because you draw, because Ohio State, you've beat them 3 years in a row. They're going to be angry. They're loaded this year. And
it's on the road.
And then Texas is so early in the season that your young roster, I don't see how you win that game. So if you're going to pull one of those three, it's got to be Oregon, right?
I think that's the most likely win is Oregon to me, because they've been known to, and you go back to last year, they've been, and you take a look at the Oregon-Washington, they've been known to lose to teams that are a little bit more physical than them. And that's what Michigan kind of prides themselves on, is being physical. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was the one game that they were able to pull off the huge upset in. Anything else? Cool. Well, that has been another edition and episode of What Makes a Season Successful for Michigan. I've been joined by Chase and Quinn. My name's Freddie. And hope you guys stick around. We have a new series starting where we're going to actually do schedule predictions for what is it, like 9 teams from each conference, the top 9 teams from each conference. So stick around. It should be a whole lot of fun, and that should carry us all the way into the beginning of the year, which, oh my goodness, it's 90 some odd days away, and we could not be more excited over here at Three Bold Takes. So, appreciate you watching. See you guys next week. Peace.